what you conniving morning. Morning neighbor, morning neighbor, morning. You can keep your conniving morning. When you been a corrupt in a bill tell me morning. Now because your money done, you come with conniving morning. When you had your pocket full in a bill tell me morning. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me morning. Yes, morning neighbor, morning neighbor, morning neighbor, morning. I don't want you conniving morning. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. This is all the money that me walk. I said money neighbor, money neighbor, money neighbor, money. I don't want you conniving money. Oh Joseph for me. Oh Joseph for me. Oh Joseph for me. Get a piece. One bunch green plantain. One string quackwari. One Jill black pepper. All you can buy with a Gilda piece. Yes, money neighbor. Money neighbor, money. Money neighbor, money. Money. I don't want you conniving money. When you been a corrupt in a bill tell me money. No, because you money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full in a bill tell me money. No, because you money done, you hustle. Yes, money neighbor, money neighbor, money neighbor, money. I don't want you conniving money. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. This is all the money that me walk. I said money neighbor, money neighbor, money neighbor, money. I don't want you conniving money. Oh Joseph for me. Oh Joseph for me. Oh Joseph for me. Get a piece. One bunch green plantain. One string quackwari. One Jill black pepper. All you can buy with a Gilda piece. Yes, money neighbor. Money neighbor, money. Money neighbor, money. Money. I don't want you conniving money. When you been a corrupt in a bill tell me money. No, because you money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full in a bill tell me money. No, because you money done, you hustle for tell me money. Money neighbor, money neighbor, money. Money neighbor, money. Money, I don't want you conniving money.
All right, a very pleasant good morning. It's the Bostonian morning time, usually with Brother Kidackie, Amsterdam. And we say here with my co-host, Dr. David Hinds, it appears that we're having some slight problems. You know, I don't like to start off the day like that to say we're having some technical hiccups. Some of the pages are not connecting. And so you might just be seeing it a limited amount of page. We are attempting to correct whatever that is. I wish I had my T-shirt, Comms TV T-shirt, but it seems as though Dr. Hinds and Kidackie sent messages to Dr. Hinds yesterday, and I presume that's one of the messages. Don't let Benschop get one of the T-shirt yet. Wait until he's out today, and he will able to give me that T-shirt. Morning, David. Morning.
Good morning, Mark. Good morning. It's an early day today. Morning, neighbor. Morning. Are you morning? How was your yesterday? Did you make any money yesterday? What did you do yesterday? Morning. Are you morning? And welcome to the Bostonian Guyanese morning time.
Yep,
that's how it go, right, Mark?
Yep, that's it. Because we got to get this thing right. We can't say anything else.
Hey.
Because Kidackie, I heard Kidackie sent a specific message. Tell Benschop when he's hosting the show with Dr. Hinds, put on a t-shirt, put on something, not come with no suit and tie and these sort of things. And I almost didn't do that this morning. Kidackie, tell Kidackie I'm sorry. But we have been hearing some good news in terms of how he's keeping himself. He's very fit. He's there. He's not caving in. And so we just want our listeners, his listeners, to know that Brother Kidackie is not caving in. He's very strong. Is that the message you're getting as well, Doc?
Yes, that's the message he sent out. He is doing well. He says to let the audience know, let the Guyana know that he's not backing down from this fight. He is a revolutionary, and revolutionaries don't shirk from their responsibility.
Absolutely. Revolutionaries do not short from their responsibilities. And Brother Kidackie sees this as one of his responsibilities to ensure that he remains strong and to be back out to, and I'm sure that he's going to be back out today. Again, let us just have our listeners know that we are not getting access to some pages, such as my personal page. There's no access given as yet. We are still, I don't know if Dr. Hinds, you're having that problem.
Yes, I'm having that problem. I'm not getting access to your pages. We're not getting access to the AP and UAFC pages yet.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's happening, but we have to move on with the show. Dr. Hinds, you know, the police, they have not budged other than sending out propaganda videos and so forth and so on. You're not surprised, Doc. You've gone through this millions of times that the leadership of the Guyana Police Force is possibly waiting on political directions.
Yes, political directions. And last night you spent a lot of time on the Attorney General's interest in this case. And clearly, he made very clear that this is not a police case. This is a political case that he is handling. He has pronounced on the guilt of Brother Kidackie. He was able to give more specifics about the case than the police has been able to give. So clearly, this is a political case. If we had any doubts, Nandalal was able to put that to rest on his program.
And to confirm that it is indeed a political case, we do see it also with the utterance by Anil Nandalal, who sits there as the Attorney General, as political interference into a police investigation. We just folks wish that these PPP operatives were as active on other matters, such as the rape allegations leveled against Dharamlal. He was very quiet about that, and for obvious reasons. He probably was afraid to touch it. And he was very quiet on lots of other issues. But here he is inserting himself and saying that Kidackie had a responsibility. He's trying to make it out look like people have a responsibility to, like, for example, he is trying to say how people should do their job. And as hosts, we have a responsibility, but it is not for the Attorney General to dictate to us what our responsibilities are. However, this is the same Attorney General who was caught on a taped conversation, the voice alleged to be his, claiming that heads going to roll, so to speak, and people are going to die, or to that effect, that Kaiser News reporters got to know what they're upon and so forth and so on. I'm not sure if you recall that conversation.
Of course, I recall it. And, you know, the different standards for different people in this country. It is not that their memories are short. It is clear that what they do is right. And when others do it, it's not right. I mean, Jack Dio made it very clear. You remember when he was talking about the PNC instilling fear in their supporters and using fear tactics against. And then he said, but we do it too. We do it too. We did it with our supporters. But the assumption is that when they do it, it's right. But when others do it, it's not right. It's clear the standards by which they are operating. And, you know, allow me to be the academic here. You know, where is that grounded, that differentiation in in value as far as people's actions are concerned. A different value when the PPP does it, a different value when the PNC does it. Where is that grounded? It is grounded in a different value system. Clearly, they see a different value system, or they use a different value system for PPP people and a different value system for PNC people. Whether we like it or not, that has to point to our ethnic origins. Clearly, people of a certain ethnic origin and their friends who are not of that ethnic origin but are friendly to people of that ethnic origin. Clearly, there's a different value system for them than a different value system for some people of one ethnicity and their friends from other ethnicity.
And that is so true, Dr. David Hinds. Again, we're just trying to get on the other platforms, but we may need to move on from that. You are correct. Different value system indeed, because we see every day the infractions. People who are connected to the PPP regime can say and do whatever they like without impunity, and that by itself is pretty obvious by now to scores of individuals. One of the things I want us to touch on again with regards to what Anil Nandalal talked about, it's as though he's already painting a picture there, and unfortunately a picture that Brother Kidackie Amsterdam is guilty. And that is what he is saying. And this is dangerous. This is the unfortunate message and the untruth that he's sending to the Guyana police force, whoever is handling the investigations. He is saying to the police force and to the people of Guyana, especially their support base, that Brother Kidackie is guilty. That is what he, Anil Nandalal, is suggesting in a very not so subtle way. And it is dangerous. But let me say this with regards to what Kidackie Amsterdam is being accused of by this puppet regime and echoed by Anil Nandalal. Anil Nandalal is saying that as host, talk show hosts have a responsibility, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's on the radio or whatever, you have a responsibility. And you are correct. The Attorney General should be pointing that message to
even members find the right time
members
to get the heads of
members of his own party. And now let's go to. I want to go to contradict what the attorney. Sorry about that, Dr. Hinds and our listeners.
No, you go ahead.
Want to be able to go to a tape where we will contradict what the Attorney General said. So the Attorney General has given the impression that Brother Kidackie Amsterdam has done nothing, has said nothing, and he just basically sat there, according to what the evidence the police force has put out there, this so-called evidence, and they are very disingenuous about what they have done, and they know for obvious reasons. Let us go to this evidence that the police force put out there. This is what they claim they're investigating Brother Kidackie for. This is what they're investigating. Folks, when we're on air, it's a distraction when you text me, please. Good morning. We don't mean any harm to that. But in continuing here, let's go to this tape and we'll show you exactly what Brother Kidackie did when the caller made whatever that was going through the caller's mind. I don't know what the frame of mind the caller was in, but you'll hear specifically what Kidackie Amsterdam did.
Kidackie.
Morning to you.
This will be very brief. There are 4 individuals who stand firmly in the way of Black people or people from other races. And let me call them in order of succession.
Let me just say before we continue with the tape that this is one thing Dr. Hinds doesn't promote on his program. I do not promote this sort of thing on my program. Kidackie does not promote these sort of things on the program. We are replaying this here because it is what the police put out there. And they decided that they're going to omit certain key parts of what they are alleging Brother Kidackie. Hence the reason for us to replay. It's the police who already did this. So we are giving you the truth to what really transpired. We don't know if this caller was paid by the PPP, and you know they're notorious for doing certain things.
Jack Dio, Adil, Ali, and Ashley. For a start, we've got to find the right time to get the heads of these 4 people off. Get the head off. Because we've been trying everything as possible. Nothing is really making sense right now. Let me cut short all of this frivolous thing we're doing. Jagdio and Anil, let's start with the 2 of them. Have their heads posted some part of the seawall. And I guarantee you, Guyana will be the happiest and the healthiest place to live after them. These are the people who are monsters, who are the monsters in Guyana. Hands down, these are the 4 who have people punishing that you can't punish anymore. Talking in anything to stop them, they will keep doing the same thing over and over. They got to be taken out. Whether you like it or not, that is the only solution. These folks are not going to do anything otherwise. Those teachers who are striking, I am urging them to stay the course. 1 or 2 drop out will give them further impetus to say they will soon crack. These 4 monsters they have in that country, 3 of whom are Hindus, they don't care anything about Guyanese people. They entrench themselves there. The only thing that could move them out is the last breath to be taken. They are so monstrous. It's beyond explanation. That is the girl who sang that song for the love of just want to be in the competition. Look what they did to her. What more would they do? You tell me, man. This is not yesterday's story or last month's story. This has been going on for years. These things are embedded in these 4 monsters. You got to get rid of them some way, somehow. As long as they have breath in Guyana, this will be the trajectory. They got to go by any means possible. This is not going to work for Guyanese. We will sit down and talk until we become aged and we can't talk anymore. And the generation that comes after us will do the same thing, because these 4 criminals, they are going to enshrine in the others who are following them to do the same thing. So it will be something that will be perpetuated throughout. Look, I don't know what more to say other than to insist that these people's head be taken off. Thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you for your call, your contribution. I don't necessarily endorse the promotion of violence, but I do subscribe to the fact that Guyana could very well be a better place if we see the backs of some politicians.
All right, let's stick a pin there, Dr. Hinds. Right after the call, Kidackie Amsterdam did not agree with the caller, and we are not agreeing with the caller when it comes to certain things. And these, whoever, whether the PPP pay that caller the call in or not, we don't know as yet, but we can suspect that that's what the PPP does. Kidackie Amsterdam, right after that, said that he doesn't condone violence. He is saying to the caller, I do not condone what you're saying. I do not agree with you. Dr. Hinds?
Certainly, this is the first time I'm actually listening to the clip. And the police must be crazy. No proper police is going to charge, even under the notorious Cybercrime Act. No proper police is going to charge anybody for that exchange. Because Kidackie put the disclaimer immediately afterwards. He did not say to people that I am entertaining calls to deal with killing anybody. He didn't do that. They were general calls. The call came through, and immediately afterward, he said, I do not subscribe to that. My goodness. Any proper police would say there's no case here against this man. Clearly, and if under the notorious Cybercrime Act. Clearly, this is politically motivated. The police is acting under political duress and political direction, and this is clearly a case of persecution of Kidackie, Amsterdam.
It is a case of persecution against Kidackie, Amsterdam. And we want to go back to exactly what Kidackie said after the caller. And again, we do not condone any sort of violence, and we call on our listeners to be responsible when they call in. It is only fair. And we know PPP operatives when they do mischief. And Kidackie Amsterdam did the right thing. He says he does not condone. In other words, I don't support what this caller is saying. Thank you so much, Kidackie Amsterdam, for what you have said. And we hope the Attorney General, Anil Nandalal, can also go back to his support base and say that he heard the tape and he heard also Kidackie Amsterdam saying he does not support the caller. He doesn't have to say it out in so many words. He says you could tell that he was unhappy and he expressed himself. Kidackie said right after the caller that I do not necessarily, in other words, I do not condone what you're saying, and he moved on. He did say that he knows that there are some people who should be in power who should not be in power. And we all agree with that. And coming next time, they will be out of power. Listen to Kidackie Amsterdam again.
The promotion of violence. The promotion of violence. I don't necessarily endorse the promotion of violence.
What more? What more do they need to hear? What more the Guyana Police Force needs to hear? Dr. Hinds.
Yes, and you're so right. This is as clear as day. It is as clear as day. The police, I mean, the head of the police force, I do not get personal with people, but the head of the police force should say, oh, are you going to charge a man with this in my name? Because he's the commissioner of the force. How are you going to charge this? Police always say, when you make a charge, you want to make a charge based on a case that you can win in court. And any police recruit would know that this is not a case based on the evidence that you can win in court. The moderator did what he and any moderator in the circumstances should do. He did that. He said, I do not condone this violence. I do not condone violence. And so clearly this is not police work. This is the police being used to do political work. And Mark, listen,
go ahead, Doctor. Yeah.
Let's be very clear. Part of the political act of the government is to frustrate the supporters of the opposition to the point where they express their frustrations in irresponsible ways. That this is part of the political tactic of the PPP, is to frustrate people to the point where, as we say in our communities, where people lose faith. I am sure that caller, on a normal day, in a normal minute, in a normal hour, he's not interested in that kind of violence. I think what is coming out there more is frustration. And this is part of the kind of mind games that the PPP is playing with us on the opposition side, wanting to push us to the point where we lose faith and say things or do things, and then they say, look, these people are into violence. I am sure that caller is not a violent person. That person, what I hear, there is more frustration than violence. But the moderator was alert enough to recognize that what the caller said could be interpreted in that way, and to say, no, I do not agree with it, I do not promote it. Story done.
You are correct, Dr. David Hinds. To those of you who are now joining us, we are having some problems connecting to some other platforms, and I must apologize for that. I think I know where it's coming from, but we cannot correct it as it is right now. So do share the link. It is the Kidackie morning time, it's the Guyanese morning time, sorry, with Kidackie Amsterdam. Brother Kidackie Amsterdam is a political prisoner. He's being held at a police lockup. Are they still moving him around, Dr. Hines?
So as of last night, he is at the East Le Penitence police station. He was at Ramvel police station before that. And I'm reliably informed that they were anticipating that people were going to go to the station there to protest yesterday. And so they removed him to another station. They did not inform his lawyer. They did not inform his family. We were only able to find that out later on in the day. And clearly, you can see this is a political battle. They obviously monitor this program. They know that you and I and others have and other people are saying that people should be in front of their protesting and so forth. So it's clearly that they're fighting us politically as they're doing the teachers, fighting them politically. It's not about industrial relations. As they're doing it, this is not about crime. This is not about fighting violence. This clearly is political. And Mark, I want to say something here. Every day on our programs, there are people planted by the PPP who come on and naked open violence against us. They may not say to put our heads on the seawall. They say worse than that. And you call them trench scrappers. We sometimes delete them. But they abuse us psychologically and violent every day on our program. There's some of them right here this morning who are doing that. So where is the police? Isn't the police supposed to protect our safety, to protect us from violent people too? That is violence. The things that they say about you, the things they say about me, Sherrod, Mark, Burke, the things they say about us every day on these platforms, those things are worse than violence. Because violence is not just physical violence. You open your fridge, as my brother Walter Rodney used to say. A lady wakes up in the morning, she goes into the fridge, and she sees nothing but an empty fridge. That's economic violence. You come here and you say the worst racist things about black men, the worst things you say about us as black men. That's psychological violence. And the police is doing nothing about that, absolutely nothing about that. And here is somebody expressing frustration. This is that person clearly is not a troll or anything, expressing frustration. And the presence of mind of the moderator to say, I understand your frustration, but we can't do that. We can't go that way. Yet
But David, it is quite clear for all to hear that Kidackie Amsterdam said that he disagreed. He disagreed with the caller. He disagreed with the caller. What more do they want? What more they want, as we would say, what more they want the brother to do? He said he doesn't support. In other words, I don't agree with the caller. I do not agree with the caller. Kidackie said that. What more do they want? Dr. Hines, before we go to this recording, we're still trying to connect to some other platforms. Here's a recording of an alleged threat by Anil Nandalal while he was Attorney General a couple of years ago under the PPP regime. We'll get to that shortly. But folks, if you wish to put a little thing to support Kidackie Amsterdam, because it is not easy for his folks to travel back and forth from Buxton to Georgetown and wherever they're hiding him and all these sort of things. It is not easy, guys. It is not easy. There is this Zelle information there running at the bottom of the screen. I don't know if Dr. Hines, you can pin that on because I'm not getting the full access that I should. since I joined you. I joined you this morning. But here's the Zelle information. It's running at the bottom of the screen. It's the telephone number, which is 602-920-0120. That's the Zelle information. That's the number, or Dr. David Hinds' email address. It's running at the bottom of the screen. Even if you got to put a little $5, a little $10, whatever it is, do it, please. It is important that you do that. And Dr. Hinds, let's go to this alleged threat to Kaitor News that nothing ever happened. Kidackie didn't go. He didn't threaten anybody. He didn't threaten violence. He says he doesn't support that at all. He was disgusted by that caller. And so Kaitor News owner went with his lawyer, Ramjatan, to report this alleged threat, allegedly, not alleged threat, the threat allegedly made by Anil Nandalal. He went to the police, and guess what the police did? Absolutely nothing. But let's go to this. Here. This conversation, allegedly by Anil Nandalal, who sits there as the Attorney General.
Everybody doesn't have a newspaper to use as a weapon. Yes, I told Adam, I said, Adam, people got weapons, right? They don't have newspaper to use as a weapon. They got weapons. And when you continue to attack people like that, and they have no way of responding, they will just walk with their weapon into the same fucking Safan Street office. And what comes to do?
Okay, Dr. Hinds, that voice is alleged to be the voice of Anil Nandalal, who's pretending to be a priest, a pandit, or a magi now, is talking about moral responsibility of talk show hosts. Yet he forgot his responsibility, and assuming that that's his voice, because he says now he voice and all kind of thing, right? And the police did nothing about it. But here it is, assuming that that's his voice. And come on, it's Guyana. Here it is that he's saying that Kaitor News, they get a newspaper, but people get weapons. And people they go down to Kaitor News office and them go use them weapons. Dr. Hinds.
It is very clear. And he's using the logic to say that people that got a newspaper, so they're going to use means at their disposal, meaning that people express their frustration in ways that they see fit. Here, what he's doing, he is actually inciting people to go and to commit violence against. He's not saying, look, I understand people are frustrated and they are going to say things, but I don't agree with it. He's telling Kaitor News that people are frustrated and that they are going to come and they are going to do what they're doing. And in that sense, that is incitement of violence. What happened in Kidackie case is the complete opposite. Is that, yes, that the person seems frustrated who called in, but Kidackie said, that's not the way to go. I do not agree with it. On the other hand, that person in that call is really threatening Kaitor News to say people are going to come at you, and in many regards, approving of it. That is the big difference.
You know, and that Dr. Hinds is serious threat.
Yes.
And Anil hasn't confirmed that is his voice, but we live in Guyana. It's up to the listeners to decide whether they believe that is Anil's voice or not. But the threat of violence, direct threat of violence, to say that a newspaper cannot publish certain things, and when they publish certain things, people get weapons, and people go use their weapons. Now, and he was obviously frustrated. He was not only assuming that that's him again, he said it's not he, right? But the person was very frustrated to talk about violence. Now, even if people are frustrated, Dr. Hinds, I know these are serious times. Under the PPP regime, contain yourself. When you call into programs, contain yourself. And back to Kidackie, Amsterdam. Kidackie, Amsterdam was obviously not in support of that caller. Dr. Hinds, let's just go right back to this voice that is supposed to be Anil's, but Anil said nahi. Let's go back to it.
Everybody doesn't have a newspaper to use as a weapon. Yes, sir. I told Adam, I said, Adam, people got weapons. Right? They don't got newspaper to use as a weapon. They got weapons. And when you continue to attack people like that, and they have no way of responding, they will just walk with their weapon into the same fucking Safran Street office. And what comes to do? And innocent Peter will not pay for fucking parling there on me. I tell you innocent, I tell you honestly, man to man, that will happen soon.
Man to man, I tell you, man to man, that will happen soon. And listeners, nothing, absolutely nothing came out of that. Nothing at all. Dr. Hinds.
What actually happened is that Kaitro News suffered fatalities. Kaitro News employees were actually killed.
That was after he did this, and this allegedly coming from Anil. That was after.
Yes,
We got to ask ourselves this question, Doc. Why did the people went after Kaitro News employees and kill them? Why?
But that's what I mean, Tim. The police, if good police would make a circumstantial case. But they never did that. That's the point. They never did that. There's no case against Kidackie Amsterdam. He did not incite anybody. He did not say to his callers, we are opening the lines this morning for you to call in and to talk about violence. He never said that.
No.
He never said that.
Nothing.
And at the end of the call, he said, I do not agree with this. I do not promote it.
And let's go back to that, Dr. Hinds. What more do they want, Kidackie? Kidackie is saying, look, no. Don't come here on my program with that. I do not promote that at all. What more do they want? Kidackie didn't say that people get weapons and they go and do a what comes to do. What comes to do mean what happened.
What happened? Yes.
What happened. Dr. Hinds, I'm going to be away for a few minutes. Please take control while I'm gone and behave yourself, Dr. Hinds. Before I leave for a few minutes, Dr. Hinds, Kidackie and you also and other folks, we take time out to say good morning to the listeners of the Kidackie Good Morning, the Guyanese Morning Show. Let's recognize them. Clyde McPherson, a few of you guys, Marcia Jackman, Joelle, Flash Gordon, Rhonda Lane, all of you guys who are listening, every single one of you. I noticed Francine Cruz and Tommy and everybody listening, Precious Mineral, and John, everyone. We welcome all of you this morning. Doc, I'll be back.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mark, for your support in this hour of need. Comrades, brothers and sisters, you all have heard for yourself. You all have heard for yourself. The police said this is our evidence. Well, the evidence is there. Any school child, any person who pays attention will notice that there's absolutely no case against the brother. But the politicians are going after him because they feel threatened by what he is doing. For those of you who would like to contribute to the defense fund for Brother Kidackie, all of the information is on the screen. The Cash App information, the PayPal information, the Zelle information is being scrolling. It's scrolling at the bottom. Some of you have already contributed on Politics 101, and there's some of you for me to thank. I thanked some people last evening, and there's some of you I will thank this evening on that program. But those of you who would like to contribute from the program here, the information, we're anticipating bail. We don't know. First of all, we don't know what they are going to do. But we'll have to post bail if it goes to bail. And so there is need for a defense fund. Last year, we went through the same thing with Brother Takuma Ogunse, and we rather suspect that this is not going to be the last. Sister Novella's been raising that question of a general defense fund. She discussed it with Brother Kidackie and myself years ago, 3-4 years ago. And it is something that we have to put in place. We in the WPA have this defense fund. We started it last year with Brother Kidackie and Brother Takuma Ogunse Rest, and now we are coming to you again. And what is beautiful about this is that before we issue the call for a campaign fund, 2 or 3 citizens decided that they were going to send their contribution, and so triggered in us the idea of putting this defense fund. So the information is there. Please contribute, and I'm very, very happy that our people have now gotten in to the mode of recognizing that we have to defend, protect our soldiers, because that's what we are. We're fighting a war against these people who have declared war against us. We are responding to them. They would like us to be off air. They've commandeered the state media, the state radio, state TV, state newspapers. They've backed us out. The private media covers what they want to cover. Nobody from the private media, for example, has called me on this story. If the private media doesn't see it as a big deal, nobody has called to ask for an interview on this story. They depend on what the police say, and that's that. So when we are fighting our struggle, we are shut out from the state media, and the private media covers what they want to cover. And so therefore, this alternative media has now become the alternative to the conventional media. And it seems as though we are meeting more people daily than they are meeting. When you add up the people who view all of these shows, is more circulation than Stabrook News and Kaitro News, which are the big independent papers, but certainly more than Chronicle and NCN and all the others. And so therefore, they see us as a political threat. And clearly this action against Brother Kidackie is politically motivated. It can be based on an offense that he has committed. He has committed no offense. In my humble opinion, he has not violated the Cybercrime Act, which in any case should be repealed. But that's where we are. They're seeing what we are doing as a direct threat. They talk about the fourth estate, meaning the media. That is an important aspect of the democratic process. That you have the 3 branches of government, the legislature, the judiciary, the executive branch, and then you have the media. The media are as important to democracy as other aspects of the democratic process. And so, in a sense, what we have created here is the 5th estate. If the 4th estate is the traditional media, then this new media, what they're calling social media, is the 5th estate. And it's obviously driving fear in them because they're not able to get away with what we are able to take them on a daily basis we were able to provide information as we did here this morning. They put out this evidence, and we were able to take the evidence, bring it here, and dissect it, and expose the case that the police has been instructed to bring against Kidackie. Now, if you listen to Nandalal, the case from their standpoint is an open and shut case. So if it's an open and shut case, you arrest this man on Tuesday, then you, according to that Nandalal, the case is clear. Why are you holding him? You had 2 months. You should have already made your case, get everything and ready to go to court. You pick the man up, charge him, pass it through court. What you have him in the lockups waiting for? It is clear that they are using the 72 hours as part of political prosecution and persecution. Because Nandalal is saying the case is an open and shut case. Well, if it's an open and shut case, charge the man since Tuesday, pass it through court. Clearly, they have no case, and they're using the Cybercrime Act as a way of prosecuting political opponents. It is obvious there's no case. There's no case, so he should not have been picked up in the first place. But they say they have a case. They have 2 months to put the case together. So when they went and picked this man up, they should have been ready to go to court. Why is he sitting in a police lockup? He's sitting there because they want to prosecute him. Sisters and brothers, this is a police state that we are in. And they don't want to hear that, but it is absolutely true. We are living in a police state. And the PPP is bent on crushing us. They are bent on crushing us. And with all due respect, if you're bent on crushing people, people have a right to protect themselves. We have a right to protect ourselves as a constitutional right. This is not the police against us. This is not the regular police force. This is political policing. This is political policing. I was there. I looked at the 2 gentlemen who are handling Kidackie's case, and you can see the lawyers trying to talk to them, and they can't even talk to the lawyer. They can't look the lawyer in his eyes. You can see the poor men are almost trembling. I'm not saying in defense of them because, you know, people of conscience have to say, look, I'm not doing this. But they will tell you it's my bread. It's my job. But you can see it in those men. And so this is not the police against us. This is the regular police against us. This is the political police against us. This is political policing. The PPP has turned the police force into a political tool. Good evening, good morning, to all of you, and welcome to the Guyanese Morning Time. I'm sitting in here along with Mark Benschop for Kidackie Amsterdam. The show must go on. Kidackie's still in custody. He's still in custody for a case that the police doesn't have against him. So this case that they're saying they have against him is not by the police. The police do not have a case against Kidackie. And this case that they're talking about is a case by the political bosses who are using the police to prosecute an opposition personality. That's what is happening here. I want to make that very clear. This is not the police against Kidackie Amsterdam. This is the political bosses using the police to do their dirty political work. Because those policemen and women, and I'm saying it here this morning, they are our brothers and sisters. They are our children. They are our sons and daughters. And I will fight for them because they are imprisoned by this political regime. And so I want to make it clear this morning, from the standpoint of the Working People's Alliance, this fight is not between us and the policemen and women. It is where the PPP is using the leadership of the police force to politicize police work. If the police is using that tape to bring a case against Kidackie, Amsterdam, then they're not worth being police. They will be the laughing stock of the world, because that is more than sloppy police work. So I do not believe that is police work. That is political work. And they are entrapping and coercing our brothers and sisters in uniform to fight against their brothers and sisters, their family. That is what they're doing to the police force. They're putting the police force to fight against their family, to prosecute their family, with the hope that we are going to rise up and wreak havoc against the policemen and women. No, we are saying those policemen and women need our protection because they are in the same boat like us. They're not able to do what we are doing. And so we are fighting for them too, their freedom. They are imprisoned. They're serving and protecting this nation. They have to feed their families. And the government is using that to imprison them and to force them to come and to beat down and beat up their brothers and sisters, their family. They are our family. Those policemen and women, they are my brothers, they're my sisters, they're my family, as Congressman said. And so we want to make it very clear that our fight is not against them. We do not see them as the culprits. The culprits are the political bosses. And it's the political bosses who are using their hand-picked people in the leadership of the police force. The leadership of the police force. Good morning to you. Good morning to the people of Linden. Good morning to the people of Linden. Good morning to the people of Linden. Look, I have no time for nonsense here this morning. Gary, whoever you are there, you're out of here. No time for nonsense this morning. I am bright enough to know the law and to know when I break the law or know when a law is broken or not. I can read. We can read. Don't come here and talk nonsense. Look, I hope the political bosses, I hope that Anil Nandalal, they go through some of these comments and notice the abuse that we go through every day. They come here and use African names. And they say the worst and the vilest things against us. Good morning and welcome to all of you to the Buxtonian Morning Time. I know a lot of you have been asking us about whether we would open the phones. We have taken a decision that we are going to hold on that. That is a decision for Kidackie to make when he comes back. For now, we don't think that we should open the phones without his permission. And he has not given us permission to open the phones. So we have decided that we will not open the phones. It is not an act of cowardice. It is respect for the brother. And when he comes back, he will make that decision. So for now, we are going to hold on the phone calls. I want to make some more comments about our visitor, Jonathan Jackson. the son of Jesse Jackson, whom the PPP thought they had captured and put on a slave ship and brought here to Guyana to act as a puppy show for them and to use him to torment Black people. Normally, when you have a visitor from outside, as Brother Takuma Ogunse said last night, when you have a visitor from outside, you don't want to wash your dirty linen when the visitor is here. And the fact that you have a visitor there and you stage what you stage with Kidackie while that visitor is here is that you are confident that you have given that visitor your eyes, mean PPP eyes, so that that visitor will see Guyana through PPP eyes. That is the plan. That was the plan. But clearly they were disappointed. First of all, the Guyanese abroad, the Guyanese here did the right thing by getting in touch with the congressman and his office. That's how American politics operate. We in Guyana, we have not developed that habit yet. But in America, people write their congress people, call them, bombard them, and they have access to them. Here you're not able to call your political leaders. In America, they do. And so people were able to get to the congressman. But the congressman said, even with people trying to get to him, he said, I knew what was happening in Guyana. I have Guyanese in my constituency. I am close to leader of the Democrats in Congress. I know what is going on. So I didn't come here as a fool. And he publicly said to Kwame McCoy and others, do not try to make me a fool. And he took charge of his situation. I read in this morning paper some jackass is saying the congressman priority is wrong. He comes here and he's only talking to African Guyanese. Well, he didn't come here as his own. The PPP brought him. They brought him. And they brought him to talk to African Guyanese because they took him to Linden. They took him to Linden. They brought him to talk to African Guyanese. I read it for you all. They brought him because they wanted him to talk to African Guyanese. But they wanted him to talk a certain way to African Guyanese. And he decided, you all want me to go north, I go in south. And he went to Mocha. He went to South Georgetown. He met with the opposition leader. He met with his Padaji. He met with Guyanese, African Guyanese mostly. Because it's a recognition that African Guyanese are suffering in a particular way. He knows that. And I can't help but swinging at some of my political comrades on the opposition side, who are always mixing up this story. Mixing up the story. Amerindians in the hinterland, because of where they're located, because of the history that they have had to endure, they have particular problems. Problems of land rights. Problems of people going into the interior and taking advantage of their children, their girl children. And you all know what I'm talking about. They have their problems. And their problems are unique to where they live geographically and their social environment. East Indian Guyanese, who are rice farmers, who work in the sugarcane industry, who are small farmers, they have particular problems. They have problems of drainage and irrigation, problems of finding markets for their products. They're interested in manure and all those kinds of things. They're interested in gaisuko. They have their particular problems. Their problems have to do with their station in life, in the political economy. African Guyanese are mostly public servants. They work for the government. They have to keep the government going. They teach our children. They are responsible for the health of our people. They live in their villages and their towns. They live in the urban areas. They have particular problems. And their problems have to do, PNC leaders, all you hear me, I'm giving you all a lesson here on how to talk politics. And they're interested in wages and salary. They're not interested in manure. They're interested in wages and salary. They're interested in better conditions in the school buildings. They're interested in computers. If you are a cane cutter, you want good cutlass. You want safe conditions in the sugar fields. A teacher wants safe conditions in the school buildings. I'm talking to PNC leaders. All you hear me? Because I'm going to get dread with you all. Stop this nonsense of fudging the issue. I'm teaching you all this morning. And so African Guyanese have particular problems that have to do with where they're located in the political economy. Nurses are concerned. They are concerned about conditions. They have to save lives. A cane harvester is not saving lives. A cane harvester is about harvesting that cane. A nurse work is about saving lives. A nurse is likely to be pricked by a needle that is dangerous. There are risks that nurses have to take that a rice farmer don't have to take. Rice farmer take different kinds of risks. A cane harvester goes into the field, he can be bitten by a snake. It is the job of the nurse and the doctors to nurse him back to health. Their situations are different. All you hear me? And I'm tired of this nonsense. From top to bottom, PNC leaders, all Guyanese suffering, and leave it like that. Our sufferings are different. Congressman Jonathan Jackson had to come here and point that out to our brothers and sisters. And if they're not listening, I want you all to cut what's saying here and send to them and say, this is how you talk politics. If I were to go to Port Morant or Enmore to talk to the people there, I'm not going there to talk to them about wages and salaries for teachers. The majority of them are not teachers. I'll be out of place. Similarly, if I'm talking to African Guyanese, I am talking to them about issues that affect them. Look at what's happening in Linden. The flooding of Linden has to do with issues that are germane to Linden. The government is not going to is not denying the NDC in Albion and Blackbush Polder and Lusignan and Enmore. They're not going to deny them resources to fix their drainage. But they're going to deny the town council and the regional government in Linden and Region 10 for political reasons. And so, whereas they will give resources to Luzignan and more for political reasons, and so they are going to be able to fix their physical environment, they deny Linden it for political reasons. So Linden is not able to fix its physical environment. And when the rains fall, the impacts are different. You all remember there was an earthquake in Haiti in 2010. And there was an even bigger earthquake, scientifically, a more dangerous earthquake in Argentina. In Argentina, I don't think they lost 100 lives. In Haiti, they lost thousands of lives. Why? Because in Haiti, the conditions are different. The land in Haiti is dead after centuries of planting cane on the hills of Haiti. They've destroyed the topography of that country. They've destroyed the earth. And so when you have things like a hurricane, the impact is different because Haiti is not prepared to deal with the hurricane. They don't have the resources to do it. In Argentina, they do. And so you cannot talk about the people in Argentina and Haiti as suffering together. Nonsense. And so I am giving a lesson here this morning on how you talk politics in a society like Guyana. You do not go to Portuguese and tell that Portuguese about cane cutting. Portuguese don't cut cane. A Portuguese demand on government, the Portuguese community demand on government is for markets, is to protect their businesses. They are interested in businesses. So you don't go to them and talk about cutting cane. A Portuguese don't got to frighten a snake gonna bite you in a cane field. So this whole thing about lumping suffering together, it's laziness. It's intellectual laziness. And so our brother from the United States of America had to come here and said, look, I'm dealing with family matters. I want to talk to this family. And so those in the papers who were saying that the minister's priority is wrong, he comes here and he only wants to talk to African Guyanese. Well, the PPP bring him to talk to African Guyanese. They carry to Linden, they didn't carry to Albion. They can carry to Port Morant. They carry to Linden. Is there bringing to talk to African Guyanese. But they want him to turn his mouth south. And he said, no, this mouth turning north. And so I want you all black people to tell you all leaders, stop this nonsense. They are endangering you all. They are endangering you all. Do you see Indian Guyanese or Amerindians in large numbers as watchmen and watchwomen? When black women have to leave their children, they have to leave home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon to go and get the 6 o'clock shift and to work the graveyard shift. They are not home to take care of their children. Whatever you say about Indian women, they are home to take care of their children at nights because they are not watchmen and watchwomen. And so therefore, you cannot deal with the two communities the same. The same. Those women who are leaving their children to go and in most cases, to go and watchman the businesses of other people, other ethnic groups. And you are going to them and tell them, well, Indian people suffering like, oh, damn no, they're not suffering like, they're suffering, but they're suffering differently. They're not suffering like you because you leave your damn, your children at home to the mercy of beasts while you have to go and watchman other people's business when the night comes. And people are coming to you, your leaders are coming to you and tell you you're suffering like other people. Cut that nonsense out, black people. Mark Benschop is back. I didn't want him to hear me behaving like this because he told me to behave myself before he left. I did not obey him. Welcome back, Mark.
They called me back. They said, come quickly. Come quickly. You are therefore suspended for 2 minutes.
All right.
But good point. I noticed that there's a letter in the one of the newspapers there that is talking about the congressman's visit, and the congressman should be taking care of his own. They didn't say that when other people come to Guyana and stop by, courtesy call, and they visit and they take photographs and so forth. But there's a problem when Congressman Jackson, and we all know where that is coming from. He must not talk to the people in his kitchen, his family in his kitchen. That is only for the PPP to design the kitchen, design what food they're going to cook and so forth, and give to the congressman. The congressman refused that sort of food, and he said, no. I want to talk to my family. Not a makeshift, a makeup family, a rehearsal crew like what we saw in Alboiston or so forth. But Dr. David Hinds, thank you so much. You did a great job doing what you did, explaining to our listeners. And again, good morning to our listeners. This is Guyanese Morning Time. We're sitting in for Brother Kidackie Amsterdam, who is currently sitting in a cold cell at one of the police station lockups. We have given to you the evidence where Kidackie Amsterdam said to the caller that, no, I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm not going to accept that. Before we get back into that, Dr. David Hinds, and saying good morning to all of the regular listeners, let's just say that the PPP regime has neglected the people of Linden in this flooding. They sent a couple of bottles, 44 or a couple of hundred bottles of sanitizers or detergent, and that's it. That's all the people of Linden deserve for the PPP. Some bottles of detergent, and that's it. But we got to give the leadership of Linden. They were out there. Sharma Solomon, the chairman of Linden, the deputy mayor as well, and also the leader of the opposition. They were out there. We saw also some nice videos from Apostle London as well. All of those guys were out there, and I say kudos to them, kudos to the people of Linden. And of course, we have no kudos for the corrupt, racist PPP regime. Dr. Hinds, anything on how they're mishandling Linden, the PPP?
Yes, and before I go there, Mark, I want to say thanks to the following people who have made their contribution in the last few minutes to the Free Kidackie Defense Fund. I would like to say thanks to Agre G, Kofi A, and I'm calling just the first letter of the last name because I don't know that people want their full names to be called. Andrew V, thank you very much. Courtney O, thank you very much. Gregory M, thank you so much. And then there are others who I have to go to another page here. It's Sharon E. Sharon E, thank you so much for your contribution. And let's see who this is. This is Denise S. Denise S.T. Sint. Thank you so much for your contribution to the Kidackie Amsterdam Defense Fund. Those of you who contributed via Politics 101, and I didn't get to thank you last night, I will do so tonight. I will do so tonight. I am only thanking those who are here. Let's see. There are a couple of people here. Jillian G, Eunice S, Frederick D, Lancelot T, and Hyacinth J. I want to thank all of you. If you would have contributed in the last couple of minutes, I have not gotten to you yet. These are people who have contributed 5 minutes ago. I would like to thank all of you for your contributions to the Defense Fund.
And we're very thankful to them again. The Zelle information is right there on the phone, 602 920-0120. Some folks have contacted me via my Facebook Messenger recently, a matter of 5-10 minutes ago. Please, this is the information. This is the only place and the information that Dr. Hinds has given you there. The Zelle information, we know, I'm not sure that there's anybody else that is collecting. Let us do it properly. And thanks to all those who have made it possible so far, a little $5, $10, whatever you can contribute towards this cause. Zelle information, again, that telephone number is 602-920-0120, or Dr. Hinds' email address. It's right there scrolling on the screen. Thank you all so much. It's not easy. I've been there, been through that. And Dr.
That's
Hinds,
right.
it's not easy. And
That's
thanks.
right.
Thanks to all. Even if you don't give, even if you don't give something, sorry, Dr. Hinds, even if you don't give something, a prayer, an encouragement, and what you do right here, and even sharing the free Amsterdam on your Facebook page is also a contribution. Dr. Hinds?
Anissa S. Anissa, thank you so much for your contribution. The one and only Rhonda Lane. Rhonda, thank you very much for your generous contribution, Rhonda. You, of course, know what this is. Having gone through it yourself, you know what this is. So Anissa S., thank you very much. Rhonda Lane, thank you very much. Those contributions come in. I would like to thank Linda C., Linda from Buxton, my classmate. I would like to thank you very much for your contribution. Mark, as it relates to Linden, I think we have to take this very seriously. I was making the point
Yeah.
that
Dr. Hinds, if you can stick a pin.
Sure.
The Guyanese morning time with Kidackie, Amsterdam cannot be the same if these things do not happen. Good morning, caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I'm in solidarity with Kidackie, myself and this girl Emily, Gloria from Gloria Potter, and last night after 10 something, Emmanuel Barilla from Barbados called me on a delayed conversation, and I was able to give him Dr. Hinds' phone number without Dr. Hinds' permission. So anyway, along the course of the day, he is going to be making contact with you. He is from Politically Incorrect in Barbados. And Mark, I may take it upon myself to give him your contact number so he could make contact with you.
That's all right, and I thank you so much. We can talk these things off the air, but quickly, I know you usually call in and send your solidarity with what's happening with Brother Kidackie right now. A quick 30 seconds. Go ahead, make your point.
Yes. This thing with Kidackie should not be held responsible, because when this matter with the Uptown boat came in, I think it was one of these other factions of social media that put that thing out in the domain. And after about 2 days when people were calling in, then Kidackie decided to bring it on his show. So I don't know how these people are now trying to charge Kidackie for cybercrime for something that was already in the media. And Kidackie was not the originator of that thing that was in the media.
Well said, Rhonda. If Kidackie has a way to listen, quickly, what message do you have for Brother Kidackie right now?
Kidackie, I'm praying and I'm giving you all the strength. I am with you 100%, because when was my time, you were with me. And you know that I extend everything from me to you. You understand me, Kidackie? I saw you Sunday at the bingo. I was coming out and talking, say, run the galang. But God is your judge. God is your shield, your buckler, and everything. Kidackie, we gonna touch flesh again, you know. We will touch flesh. We gotta enjoy your birthday at Club to Twilight. And I know Father's Day, I gonna die in the group. So and to enjoy Father's Day with you being out of captivity. Stand strong, Kidackie.
Yep,
Stand strong.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. Thank you so much. And
Okay.
Dr. David Hinds,
Okay.
just moments ago, thank you for your contribution as well.
Yes.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Because I attend the contribution, but the contribution is all right.
Thank you.
I had to tell Dr. Hinds, call my name. Because I ain't want nobody say Rhonda is only halfway.
No.
Now she buy the problem, she can't do nothing. That's why I let it call my name. So that people could see and they could follow my leadership to contribute to this cause with Kidackie.
Thank you, Rhonda. Appreciate it so much. This is our sister Rhonda Lane. Dr. Hinds?
Yes, Rhonda is quite a sport. I met Rhonda years ago in Amsterdam, and she didn't wait. She didn't wait to me. She came up to me. We were having a meeting in Amsterdam, and she came up and made known herself. And ever since then, she has been a trooper. What I like about Rhonda is a new kind of Guyanese that is developing. Mark, they ain't got no one political party home, right? When you cut people like Rhonda, and we're seeing that more and more. You got a little PNC in them, you get a little WPA in them, you get a little team Benschop in them, you get a little team Rickford Bork in them. They got everything, and so therefore it's a new kind of Guyanese and Guyanese activists that's developing. Professor Nettleford used to call it chaos in order and order in chaos. And he used to say only we West Indians could deal with that chaos in order and order in chaos. And I think thanks to these these outfits that I am now calling the fifth estate, because if the traditional media is the fourth estate, then this social media is the fifth estate. Thanks to the fifth estate, I think we are socializing a new type of citizen that is not bounded to a political party and thus, therefore, are hitched to a certain kind of political and party orthodoxy. I think our people are finding ways of breaking out of that. And in a sense, they always say, well, political leaders don't unite. In a sense, they're forcing us to unite. I have said since Tuesday that, since Kidackie was arrested, you, Mark Benschop, have been what we call foot to foot with us, foot to foot with me. And Aubrey Norton, the opposition leader, also, I told them last night you were teasing me. You asked me a question, and I said, I'll deal with it. And you said, you talked so much with Aubrey Norton in the last couple of days.
I listened to you last night. I heard it. And I'm like Dr. Hinds, I should not be having private discussions anymore. Good morning, all of you. Good morning, Annette Cummings. Good morning, Precious Mineral. June Gilbert. Again, if you want to contribute a little thing towards Kidackie's fund to help him out. It is not to enrich Kidackie, because some of y'all, man, I give Kidackie last week, or I give Benschop or David Hinds last week. I look David wearing a brand new glasses, Benschop getting new ties. And this is some of our people. When you give, you gotta give, Don't give and don't expect us to get a new tie and these sort of things, right?
Mark, I like to talk Ernest Elliott. Thank Ernest Elliott from the PNC at Golden Grove. He has been a pillar of support. Ernest Elliott.
Ernest?
Yes.
No. Don't say not more Ernest, but he's a good guy. Go ahead, continue.
Yes, Ernest has been a pillar of support. Yesterday he had to go to the doctor. Before he got to the doctor, he said, well, doctor, you're not going to the doctor, but I'm checking in. And when he came back from the doctor, he called. I wasn't able to take his call because I was busy running around. Lincoln has also
Which Lincoln? Abraham Lincoln or?
Lincoln Lewis, your friend, your cellmate.
Lincoln Brandon Lewis. Good morning to you, Lincoln.
Brandon Lewis of Linden via Borbis. He call you.
Borbis via Linden. Get it right.
Any news but we buy? Any news but we buy? I said Lincoln, no news yet. Well, call me if there any news come whether we buy. Then last night, he called me. Any news about Kidackie? I said, well, how you change us? By me tired. Good morning to Brother Lincoln Lewis, who has been. And our supporters have been asking whether other political leaders have gotten in touch with me. We don't have that culture yet. We don't have that culture yet where we call and give solidarity and so on. I'm sure they're giving solidarity.
Yeah, I spoke with some of them yesterday. I spoke with Kemraj Ramjatan. In fact, I called him moments ago to see if he was able to be on with us for a few minutes this morning. Of course, he's in solidarity, but I want him to share that solidarity publicly as well. I spoke with Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford. I spoke with so many others, but I want these people to come publicly and say, because Brother Kidackie has not done anything. At the end of the program, we heard the evidence is now out there. We heard what Brother Kidackie said. He said, no. I don't necessarily condone violence. He doesn't support violence. In other words, I'm not supporting this caller. What more you want Brother Kidackie to say? What more? I don't know. Dr. David Hinds again. Let's welcome some folks. Peggy Elias, how are you doing? Maybell, how are you? Desiree Simon and Surprise Boombox. Some people get some names out of this world. Surprise Boombox. Let's take them quickly for another 30 seconds in this telephone conversation. Is what the voice is said to be that of Anil Nandalal. He has denied that is his voice. You guys be the judge, mind you. He has denied this happened many years ago when this conversation took place concerning threats against Kaichur News. Threats against Kaichur News. Again, let me say that Anil Nandalal said that is not his voice. He pulled a shaggy, said it wasn't me. But you guys listen to the conversation in terms of threats of violence against workers at Kaichur News.
Everybody doesn't have a newspaper to use as a weapon. Yes, sir. I told Adam, I said, Adam, people got weapons, right? They don't have newspaper to use as a weapon. They got weapons. And when you continue to attack people like that, and they have no way of responding, they will just walk with their weapon into the same fucking Safran Street office. And what comes to do? And innocent Peter will not pay for fucking parling there on me. But tell you innocent, but tell you honestly, man to man, that will happen soon.
All right. Anil has said that is not his voice. He said that is not his voice. You guys be the judge. A report was made to the police station. Nothing ever. What comes to do? What comes to do? Kidackie Amsterdam has said nothing close to that at all. You guys be the judge out there and understand why is it that the corrupt racist PPP regime is targeting folks like Kidackie Amsterdam. It is unfair that Brother Amsterdam is where he is this morning, that you have a state that is supposed to protect and respect the citizens. Instead, they are persecuting some citizens because of their political views and because of their ethnicity. Dr. Hinds.
Yes, and certainly, as I was saying when you were gone, that our fight here is not against the policemen and women, the traditional police force, because this is not police work. This is political work by the political bosses in concert with the corrupt and discredited leadership of the police force. The leadership of the police force will stop being police leaders and have become political leaders. And so it is this is a cooking up of the political leaders and the political police leaders, not the men and women, the sisters and brothers. I watched those policemen and women at the police station and at the CID 2 days ago when Kidackie was arrested. I watched them and I said silently to myself, these are my brothers and sisters. I'm fighting for them too, because they have been imprisoned by the leadership of their political force in concert with the political bosses. And so it is not the police versus Kidackie. It is the political bosses and the political police leadership who are waging this battle against Kidackie Amsterdam and the rest of us.
You know, Dr. David Hinds, well said. And again, good morning to all of you. If you're now joining us, we're still waiting on the release of um, Kidackie, Amsterdam. Thank you so much for all that you have done. Those of you who have been praying, those of you who have been chanting, those of you who have been beating your drums for his release, and those of you who have contributed financially. All of the information on how you can contribute is on the screen, and it is scrolling there, the Zelle information and so forth. But let us go now. You heard the voice that was set to be that of Anil. Anil did say that that's not his voice. This is Anil Nandalal. Now we just want you to be the judge.
Been a chronic problem of overcrowding in the prison system of Guyana. At every prison location, the optimum capacity has been exceeded several.
All right, that was just to give. Sorry, that was just to give you guys an opportunity to hear the voice. The one with the threat you heard and that one you just heard. You guys be the judge. Dr. Hinds, I see we're going through your mind there. I could read your mind. And you're looking like Kidackie. You're looking like Kidackie. That's exactly how Kidackie sits and he looks and he observes. What went through your mind there shortly?
You know, what a crook Anil is. And I don't call people these things because I don't like name calling, I don't
Well, let
like
me just say, in the interest of our listeners, I don't necessarily support those things, people calling people.
Yes, I don't call people names, but Anil clearly is playing games. He's playing games, you know. He listen to what he said a few years ago. And then you listen in the ear they just now talking about overcrowding in the prison and so on, and yet you're taking people, children, and putting them there in the lockups. Mark, I was making the point. According to Anil, this is an open and closed case, right? They are 2 months since the call was made. In the first place, there shouldn't be a charge against Kidackie. But let's say they determine that he should be charged. There are 2 months. According to Anil, it's an open and closed case. What is Kidackie doing in a prison cell for 48 hours? They should have been able to, if they claim they have a case, pick him up, take him, book him, pass it through court, story done. What are they investigating?
They don't. There's no open and shut case at all. We'll get back to that.
No, I'm saying there's no open. Anil is saying it's an open.
Yeah. Well, we know that. We expect these things from Anil.
Right. And I'm saying that if Anil is saying it's an open shut case, then pass the man through court and charge him, pass it through court.
So you heard earlier, folks heard earlier, Anil's voice commenting about the overcrowdingness of the prison. And this voice is said to be Anil's as well, but he said it's not his. Let the people be the judge again.
Everybody doesn't have a newspaper to use as a weapon. Yes, sir. I told Adam, I said, Adam, people got weapons. Right? They don't have newspaper to use as a weapon. They got weapons. And when you continue to attack people like that, and they have no way of responding, they will just walk with their weapon into the same fucking Safan Street office. And what comes to do? And innocent Peter will not pay for fucking Paul in there on me. They tell you innocent, they tell you honestly, man to man, that will happen soon. So the quicker you get out of there, the quicker you get out of there, better.
Now, basically, he is saying to the person, assuming that that's Anil said it's not his, he's saying to Gildari that the sooner Gildari gets out of there at Kaiju News, the better for him. As soon as you get the sooner, it is better. Dr. Hinds, again, let's welcome all our listeners. Good morning to all of you. Kidackie Amsterdam has not been released as yet. We're calling for his immediate release from the lockups as a political prisoner.
Yes,
David?
and I have a couple of people to thank. Kurt C., Cheryl W. I would like to thank you all for your contribution to the fund. Christabel J., Roger C., Ivadni J., and Okolo C. I would like to thank you all for your contributions to the Defense Fund. As Brother Mark is saying, the information is there on the screen for you to make. I would like to thank Gladys R. For her contribution. Gladys R. for your contribution. The information is there on the screen for those of you who would like to contribute to defense.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hinds. I know we are coming up to wrap up time. I may have to leave just before that. But let me just say before I go, you did mention that Anil Nandalal, I didn't hear it, but there's no reason to doubt you, that Anil said that this situation, this case with Brother Kidackie Amsterdam is an open and shut case. Not so fast, not so quick. These cases that are political in nature, for people like Anil Nandalal, it is always an open and shut situation for them because they like to open their mouth and they don't know when to shut it. So maybe in that respect, he's talking about an open and shut. He didn't say that it was an open and shut case, the two serious allegations of rape against Darren Lal. It wasn't an open and shut case then. And there are tons of other cases, they weren't open and shut, according to Anil Nandalal. But because it is the likes of a Kidackie Amsterdam, it is an open and shut. But let me say to Anil and others in the PPP, sometimes you got to know when to open your mouth and you got to know when to shut
your mouth.
Just like that song, you got to know when to hold. You got to know when to hold. Right? You guys know. So now let me say this before I go. That Kidackie Amsterdam, there is no evidence that Kidackie Amsterdam has done anything wrong. Immediately following the caller and that silly emotions, this is what Kidackie Amsterdam said.
Thank you for your call, your contribution. I don't necessarily endorse the promotion of violence, but I do subscribe to the fact that Guyana could very well be a better place if we see the backs of some politicians.
Exactly. And
That's
who
right.
would want to say that? I would say that. I wish that there weren't some politicians who are in politics. Let it go plant coconut, plant shallot, or something else, or
on both sides of the political divide,
including the WPA.
That's right. On both sides of the political
All
divide.
sides of the political, and that is so true. Don't be touchy with the WPA because while Kidackie is not out, I want to come back tomorrow morning. But let us hope that our brother Kidackie Amsterdam is out indeed. Thank you so much, Anil Cummings is saying Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to hold them, right? You got to know when to lose them.
There you go, Kenny.
Dr. Hinds, thank you so much. I got to rush off again. And to all of Kidackie's listeners, thank you all so much for your contributions. Please, Dr. David Hinds is going to give you the same information for you to make whatever contribution, whether it's $10, $5, $6, whatever it is. And let me say special hello to some of his ardent supporters, those who don't go anywhere. They fight. People like Flash Garden. You know, I can't come off by saying good morning to Flash Garden. My friend Flash Garden. Dr. Hinds, thank you so much. We'll be back. And we're hoping that Kidackie Amsterdam is going to be off and out. And even if he's out, I am saying this, that I have the password. I have all the information. And I will be back tomorrow morning with Kidackie Amsterdam. Thank you so much, Dr. Hinds.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks for your solidarity and thanks for staying with us this morning. Brother Mark Benschop there. And I would like to thank Robin. For her contribution that just came in a minute ago. I would like to thank Errol G, for his contribution. So there we have it, brothers and sisters. We are keeping watch for our brother, and we will continue to do so. If there is any change during the course of the day, we would come back live and keep you updated. So please stay near to your devices. Please stay near to your devices. I'm going now to try to make contact with the lawyer and make contact with Kidackie's family to find out what's the latest. If there is any development, we are going to inform you. We are keeping our fingers crossed that we'll see what happens today. I would like to thank all of you for getting up as early as you usually do to join this program, to join this special edition of the Guyanese Morning Time, and to say how grateful we are to you. We are in this struggle together, and the struggle goes on until victory comes to us. And victory is not a moment, victory is a process. We are already winning some victories, but when we get to the beautiful shore, then we will scream aloud, free, thank God Almighty. We are free, not at last, because that freedom will have to be preserved. One of the things is that when we win the freedom, we leave it down on a shelf. We have to win that freedom, and we have to protect that freedom. And Brother Kidackie Amsterdam has been doing that. He has been protecting our freedoms, and he is now paying the ultimate penalty. And the ultimate penalty for a freedom fighter is when they take your life and when they take your liberty. But that too shall pass. Thank God we have people like you who stand with us and who continue to give us the kind of courage and the kind of energy to continue to witness for you. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Want to say good morning to Congressman Jonathan Jackson. Welcome to Guyana. We don't know whether he has left, but if he's here and he's going out to meet more of his family today, walk with God's speed and be careful, because they may want to get you in trouble for cyber crime too. Now that they have realized that you are not a Negro, you are not a slave. Here was Nandalal making an excuse. Oh, the police force accustomed to calling people Negro. You know, I don't subscribe to calling Indian people coolie. And I've seen them use that term. I don't use it. I see Indian people use it, and some of our brothers and sisters use it. But I don't use it. But there's Nandalal defending the police, referring to black people as Negro. It is those kinds of things that us make I get in the ricketics. We are not Negroes. We are not Negroes, Nandalal. We are not Negroes. We are Africans. We are Africans culturally, ethnically. We are black politically. I know some of you get confused between black and African. African is a cultural and ethnic description of people who look like us. Black is political. Black, the term black was created during slavery when they came up with what was called the color code. Black versus white. And if you had black and white, where did you fit in other people? That's why you have brown people and red people and yellow people. So I just want you all to know nothing is wrong in saying that we're black. We're black. Black is a political term. African is a cultural and ethnic term. Some people now are saying black African, all right? Because they're Africans, for example, who are white. So white South Africans are Africans. White South Africans are African, but they're not black. They're geographically Africans. They're born on the continent, but they're not black. So we must understand. I hear some people, black and white were created when race was created. When race was created, the color code of black and white. I always say to people, if black goes away, white will go away. If white goes away, black will go away. But there are privileges that come with being white. And as you go down the color code, brown and yellow and so on and so forth. And black is always seen as the lowest. We have news for them. Black is beautiful and black people are equal to other peoples of the world. Thank you all so much. And if anything breaks during the day, I am going to come back live with you all. If not, I'll see you all tonight on Politics 101. Thank all of you for staying with us. Thank all of you for contributing to the fund. Thank all of you for being true to Kidackie and to being part of this free Kidackie, free Kidackie, free Kidackie moment. Free Kidackie moment.